We're live.
Hey, thank you, Dina. Good morning, everyone. We'll call this meeting to order. I'll ask for a mover and seconder for item 1.1 with regard to our CAO. Moved by Councillor Kinney, seconded by Deputy Mayor Bray. The Council received a letter dated March 6, 2021 from the OMAA for information, and further that Council extend their congratulations and thank Mr. Vadeboncoeur for his 25 years of service as a CAO. And I know here in Wasaga Beach, we're quite thrilled with our CAO, and we brag about him all throughout Simcoe County. So thank you, George, for all of your hard work. And Councillor Kinney, I did see your card up.
Thank you, Your Worship, and to George, many, many, many congratulations, and heaven's sakes, you don't look that old to be 25 years in the job. Anyway, thank you so much, and I know the town really enjoys your work, and thank you, Your Worship.
Yeah, thank you. Did you want to say anything, George?
Well, I just want to say thank you, Your Worship, members of council. It's an honor to serve council and the residents of Wasaga Beach. I thoroughly enjoy what I do, and thank you to you and all the staff here at Wasaga Beach. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And with that, all those in favor? And that is carried unanimously. Disclosure of pecuniary interest. I do not have any in front of me. If throughout the meeting you find that you do, please declare it at that time. Adoption of minutes, the regular meeting of council minutes, February 23rd. If I could have a mover and seconder, please. Councillor Watson and Councillor Foster. Resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held February 23rd, 2021 are hereby adopted as circulated. Is there any discussion on these minutes? All those in favor? And that is carried unanimously. Special meeting of council minutes, March 2nd. If I could have a mover and seconder, please. Councillor Kinney and Councillor Wells. Resolved that the minutes of the special meeting of council held March 2nd, 2021 are hereby adopted as circulated. Is there any discussion on these minutes? All those in favor? And that is carried unanimously. Thank you. Deputations, presentations, petitions, and public meetings. We do have a presentation today from Inspector Andy Tait. So I know he's on here, if we can put his camera on. Oh, and sorry, and Sergeant Caleb Denbok is also with us.
Good morning, everybody. It's Acting Inspector Andy Tait. Very, very privileged to be invited today with Detective Sergeant Caleb Denbok. He's with the Community Street Crime Unit and with the OPP. Sorry, I'm just trying to get some. There we go.
There you are.
So we're very, very fortunate to have Caleb with us today. He's the manager supervisor at Detachment here, joined with Collingwood.
Sorry, can I just interrupt? Can I interrupt you for 1 minute? Is there somebody else in your office with you with their sound on? We're getting back feed here, or feedback. I think we muted him on this end, so you should be able to speak now.
Oh, there we are. Is that better?
That's much better. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Again, I'm Andy Tait, and very, very, very privileged to be here today to speak with you all. Caleb is he's one of our supervisors here, team leaders primarily. His responsibility is looking after drug and property crime in the Wasaga Beach, Huronia West Detachment catchment area and Collingwood area as well. Wealth of knowledge, very, very, very fortunate to have him on as part of our team as well. And as a little bit of context, a little bit of history, very, as part of our partnership and collaboration, and George had reached out to us just kind of asking if we could give a little bit of oversight or a little bit of an insight into our current or any current drug specific challenges in Wasaga Beach. I reached out to Caleb, who compiled some information and is here today to present it to you. So without me kind of going on and on, I just want to kind of do a nice little intro for Caleb here, and he'll go through some information for you all and be open to any questions.
Okay, thanks, Andy. And I'll just get you to mute yours so that we don't have the feedback when Caleb's speaking.
Morning.
Morning. And are you able to put your camera on, Caleb?
Yes, I am. Morning.
Morning.
So yes, thanks to Andy for the introduction there. I'm sorry. I've got
Sorry,
more feed.
is Andy's, has he been muted?
How's that?
That's much, oh. Well, go ahead and try and we'll see where.
Is that better? No.
You still have a little echo. I wonder if maybe even if you're able to switch computers. I'm not sure. But there's just a little bit of echo there.
You want me to just use your computer then? I've just moved over to Andy's computer.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Is that better?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Yeah, thanks again to Andy for the introduction here. So I'm in charge of the unit both at Collingwood and Huronia West. It's the Community Street Crime Unit. It does primarily drugs and property, like Andy said. It's comprised right now of myself and 2 detective constables in Huronia West, and then 2 in Collingwood as well. Primarily our focuses have been fentanyl trafficking and related to opioid related deaths. So we work in conjunction with the major crime unit as well. Whenever there is an overdose, we're engaged to provide intelligence information and try and develop a source to where these drugs come from, to hold the traffickers accountable as well. It is a bit of a dynamic unit in that there are 2 in Wasaga Beach and 2 in Collingwood. So often our targets will blend from both communities, which is why I manage both. Going forward, I don't know if you had a chance to look at the statistics there. We've had a lot of success in the last few months, seizing a number of firearms as well as cocaine and prescription medications. The communication between us and major crime in relation to the sudden deaths is always evolving, but it's proven very successful, as there's several cases where we've been able to identify the source of the drugs. There are an increase in fentanyl overdoses. That's twofold. I think one, in my opinion, it's because of the influx of new people into the community, as well as the reports on statistics. Because it is such a new and evolving pieces of information, I guess, with opioid-related deaths. When you look at from 2017, the statistics and the accuracy might not be as accurate as it would be today. Just placed more focus in 2021 than there was 2017. So I think that's why you're going to kind of steadily see an increase for those 2 factors. But again, it all comes down to the accuracy of reporting, which is what we're trying to stay on top of right now. That's just a bit of a brief oversight kind of into the unit and what we do. If you have any questions, I'm open to those as well.
Okay, thank you. I will open it up for questions. Mr. CAO, did you have anything I know that you asked Andy and Caleb to come here, so did you want to speak to anything before I open it up?
Thank you, Worship. Again, my appreciation to the officers for attending today to give council an update on what's been happening in Huronia West, and specifically Wasaga Beach. Just a curiosity with respect to the statistics, because we do get the quarterly reports from the data center in Aurelia that describes the charges and whatnot, and certainly there has been a bit of an increase, but we haven't seen an overwhelming increase in that in terms of the charges. And I'm just curious, what do you see in the first quarter of 2021? Are the trends continuing, or have they started to go down or up, or what are your observations for the first 3 months of this year?
Are you talking in relation to the charges or to opioid related deaths, overdoses?
Both, if you wouldn't mind.
Sure. As far as charges, so our investigations often take months at a time. Some are done within a week. Others take 6 months to a year to complete. So the totality from charges, I think, is best to look at year's end. Instead of at a quarterly basis, we might have investigations on the go that may yield 100 charges now that we're working on now. However, they won't be brought to a conclusion until maybe September or October. And that'll provide a better oversight for what we've done for the year, just due to the nature of the investigation. In regards to the overdoses, I would say it's fairly consistent with what we saw in the last quarter of last year. There has been an increase in non-fatal overdoses, but again, there's several aspects that attribute to that due to COVID-19 and the access of importation of drugs into the country. Not trying to get into a lot of detail about how the drugs are made or cut, but when there's a lack of production or importation, drug dealers will often use other agents to cut their drugs that may prove more fatal, such as rat poison, etc. So that's why you might see an increase in overdoses now, just as a result of COVID-19 factors.
Okay, and I think one of the reasons that we asked for you to come here is a comment had been made that we perhaps in Wasaga Beach had a huge drug problem and things like that. So are we any different than any other location throughout Ontario at this point?
No.
Okay.
It's very much on par for all of Central Region. Collingwood and Wasaga Beach both, again, commenting because it is a blended unit. There is a huge influx from the GTA due to COVID-19. I don't believe that's impacted overdoses as much. It has made our unit busier, of course, getting to know the who's who, but in relation to being busier than other communities, I would say you're very much on par with a lot of them in Central.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Kinney, I saw your card up.
Thank you, Worship, and thank you, Caleb and Andy, and heaven's sakes, yes. It's great to see that we've got a blended unit because, crime doesn't have any boundaries, and we all know that. One of the things I think we should be doing as a community is getting maybe a little bit away from what Caleb is saying, but focusing overall with programs in our schools like DARE and supporting those, because if we can get to, at least from a residential point of view, the concerns that we have, then it makes it at least a possibility that we can break the cycle of individuals using drugs from a family point of view. I just really, again, like to thank Andy and Caleb for their time today and their fine work. And you guys stay safe, please.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other comments or questions? Councillor Watson.
Thank you, Your Worship. And I really appreciate Huronia West coming here today and speaking to us and affirming the fact that Wasaga Beach is a safe community. In spite of some of the comments you hear, I've lived here 52 years, raised 4 children here. It's always been safe and the kids have lots to do. So thank you very much for affirming that, gentlemen. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, looks like we're in good shape. Well, thank you very much, Caleb and Andy. I thought they let you guys off easy today. I thought they were going to have all kinds of questions for you. So anyways, thank you very much for being here, and we look forward to seeing you again at a future meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care. And I do have a motion here that council receive the presentation from the Huronia West OPP Detachment pertaining to drug awareness for information. If I could have a mover and seconder, please. Councillor Foster and Councillor Watson, all those in favor? And that is carried unanimously. Next, we do have a closed session on here. Envelopes were circulated. Is there anyone who wishes to move in camera to discuss any of those items? No? Okay, then we won't move in camera. We'll move to item 6.1. If I could have a mover and seconder, please. Councillor Wells and Councillor Kinney. The council confirmed the direction provided to the CAO in closed session pertaining to a lease matter. All those in favor? And that is carried unanimously. Item 6.2, with regard to the coordinated committee closed session minutes, Deputy Mayor Bray. And a seconder, please. Councillor Foster. Resolved that council receive the following closed session reports as circulated and approves all actions contained therein. Coordinated Committee, March 11th, 2021, closed session minutes. All those in favor? And that is carried unanimously. Comment and question period. Madam Clerk, has anyone registered to speak today?
Thank you, Your Worship. No, we don't have anybody registered.
Okay, thank you. Unfinished business, we have none. Correspondence, we have none. Correspondence received for information, none. Requiring action, none. Referred, we do have one from the Solicitor General. If I could have a mover and seconder, please. Councillor Kinney and Councillor Wells. The council received the letter dated March 18th, 2021 from the Officer of the Solicitor General for information, and further that the letter be referred to staff for further review and recommendation to be brought back. Is there any discussion on this? Councillor Kinney?
Thank you, Worship. It's nice to see that finally our provincial entities, including the OPP, and I've got no negativity in my comments here, are finally having a chance to move forward with this, and hopefully it'll help communities in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Wells?
Thank you, Worship. I guess it's a question to the CAO. Do we have a sense yet, George, as to how the process will work? I mean, we have to work with the detachment to determine the composition of this board. Have we a sense yet of how that's going to come down?
Mr. CAO?
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Wells, through you, Your Worship. There was discussion going back about 18 months, maybe 2 years, where there was some research conducted by the Township of Springwater with respect to moving forward to establish a police services board for the Huronia West Detachment. And as members of council recall, that was kind of put on hold when the new government took office and they said that they were going to be reviewing the Police Services Act. So back then there was an indication that there would be benefits in terms of moving to one police services board to cover the three municipalities. This consultation period gives the opportunity for individual municipalities to review that model and other models as well, and respond back by June 7th. So I think I've been in contact already with the CAO from the Township of Springwater. As I said, they kind of led the review some time ago. We're going to pick that up again and then be in a position to bring forward recommendations to our respective councils. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, I've read the motion. Oh, sorry, Councillor Watson.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, I'm very happy to see this coming forward. I guess you call it contract policing, and which allows us to have a police board. I remember sitting on the patio deck of the Diconia Hotel with Inspector Rod Lake and Commissioner Julian Fantino talking about this several years ago. It's nice to see we moved to this point. It was always very costly, more costly than we were paying, but now it seems to be very closer on par with our with our current expenses with OPP. So thank you, and I hope we can go forward with this.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I've read the motion. All those in favor? And that is carried unanimously. Next, we have coordinated committee minutes, and we will start with community services. Councillor Kinney, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. The following are the highlights from the March 11th, 2021 Community Services section of Coordinated Committee. The committee held a virtual meeting, public meeting, under the Planning Act for a property on the south side of River Road West, just west of Westbury Road. Wasaga River Woods Home Incorporated is planning to build an 86-unit condominium complex on the site. For the project to go ahead, the developers required official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment. Developers submitted applications for both amendments last summer, and staff deemed them complete in January, allowing the scheduling of a public meeting. Town staff then provided committee with an overview of the proposal during the meeting. Neighbors from the area also commented on the project. Staff are conducting a detailed review of the proposal, and when that work is complete, will provide council a recommendation. In other matters, the committee received for information a report about additional costs related to a new pumper truck the town purchased for the fire department. Chief Mike McWilliams noted in the report that because the vehicle was built in Florida, a number of items were added to protect it from a typical Ontario winter. In addition, the department added cabinets and shelving to the truck. This will allow the safe transportation of equipment on the vehicle. The extra items, inclusive of labor, was at a cost of $22,487. This expenditure was more than the town budgeted for the purchase. However, the overage does not exceed the allowance under the town's purchasing policy. Finally, the committee is recommending council approve the Rockin' the River event for Saturday, August 7th, and that up to $20,000 from the special events budget be allocated for the event. In addition, the committee is recommending the town apply for the County of Simcoe Tourism, Sport and Culture Grant for matching funds up to $10,000. If allowed to proceed, the event will involve groups of kayaking or canoeing on the Wasaga River from Wasaga Sports Park to the Schooner Town Parkette. The town will work with Free Spirits Tours and Ontario Parks to present the event. Municipal funding will support the costs of marketing, river guides, shuttles, and musical entertainment. Town believes the event will be a fun and new activity for the community. On behalf of the Community Services section of Coordinated Committee, I ask that council approve the recommendations to this report. Thank you, Worship.
Thank you. Is there any questions for Councillor Kinney? Okay, moving on to Public Works. Councillor Watson, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. The following are the highlights from the March 11th, 2021 Public Works section of Coordinated Committee. Committee is recommending council direct staff to examine lowering the speed limit in town from 50 kilometers per hour to 40 kilometers per hour. The reduction would be a way of increasing public safety on local roads. If council authorizes the study, the Director of Public Works will establish terms of reference for the study scope and have the terms approved by council before the study commences. Committee is recommending council approve the purchase of a number of materials required for regular maintenance, including gravel, asphalt repair services, line painting services, and the purchase of dust suppressant. Reports received and approved at committee outline these items in detail. Committee is recommending that council award the contract for advertising waste recycling receptacles to the Bench Press Limited, also known as Creative Outdoor Advertising. The company is to provide new and attractive receptacles at multiple locations designated by the town and will have the right to sell advertising on the receptacles. The term of the contract is a 5-year period with an option to extend. The town identified Creative Outdoor as the preferred option through an RFP process. The town will collect $45,900 in fees from the company over the first 5 years. Creative Outdoor is a company that provides benches at transit stops in town. Committee received for information the Capital Works Project Status Report. The report shows that planning continued for a number of initiatives that will happen this year and in the years to come. The committee also received for information the River Road West and Theme Park Drive Future Intersection Improvements Report. The report notes that the preferred solution for the intersection is traffic signals rather than a roundabout. The cost to install signals is approximately $250,000, which is substantially less than the $800,000 required for a roundabout. The improvements will help facilitate future traffic. The timing for the work must still be determined. The committee is recommending council award the Ramblewood Drive reconstruction contract to Ratcliffe Excavating and Grading for $4,033,582.19 plus HST. The reconstruction of Ramblewood Drive between 45th and 58th Streets will consist of a new road surface plus a new storm sewer, sanitary sewer extension, water services, concrete curbs, sidewalks, and dedicated bike lanes. This purchasing action was done through a competitive process. Committee received the monthly water pollution control plant report, as well as the monthly drinking water system performance report. In addition, the committee received well system supply reports and annual Wasaga Beach drinking water system report. The report shows systems operating to provincial standards. The drinking water system received a final inspection rating of 100% for 2020. The town service provider, the Ontario Clean Water Agency, and town staff were to be commended on the excellent results. Finally, committee also received transit stats for the month. Ridership for Wasaga Transit was 3,697 rides in February compared to 3,963 in January. Year-to-date ridership sits at 7,660. On behalf of the Public Works section of Coordinate Committee, I ask that council approve the recommendations in this report. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any questions of Councillor Watson's report? Okay, seeing none, we'll move to Development Committee. Councillor Foster, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. The following are the highlights of the March 11th, 2021 Development Services section of the Coordinated Committee. Committee is recommending that the town enter into a subdivision agreement with Haymount Investments Limited for a draft plan of subdivision legally described as Plan 51M923, Block 24. Surrounding the site is Beachway Trail to the west, Sandy Coast Crescent to the south, Stonebridge Boulevard to the east, and a stormwater management pond to the north. The draft plan of subdivision permits 48 homes on the property. Haymount has said that the company plans to start a sales program in the spring and construction of the units in the summer. Committee also received an information report on the application for site plan approval for the new Twin Pad Arena and Library at 544 River Road West. Committee directed staff to process the application in accordance with the Planning Act requirements. As well, committee received for information the Building Department Activity Summary for February. For the month, the department issued 20 building permits with an estimated construction value of $1.5 million. In addition, committee received for information the first quarter economic development report. The report notes staff continue to work on a comprehensive wayfinding strategy, as well as an economic development strategy. The Business Recovery Task Force work continues too, in addition to work on an open patios program for 2021. Also, staff continue to support local messaging for radio, print, and digital platforms. The report covers a number of other initiatives as well. Finally, committee is recommending that council approve the open patios program for 2021. Open patios is designed to mitigate some of the financial impacts restaurants are experiencing due to the pandemic by allowing them to extend seating options outside in better ventilated and socially distanced patio spaces. The program ran successfully last year, and it's expected there will be interest again this year. The town would not charge a fee to review and assess proposals for temporary patios. Businesses wishing to serve alcohol will still need to secure the appropriate provincial license. On behalf of the Development Services section of the committee, I ask that Council approve the recommendations in this report. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this report? Okay, seeing none, we'll move to General Government. Deputy Mayor Bray, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. The following are the highlights from the March 11th, 2021 General Government section of Coordinated Committee. Committee is recommending that Council approve the purchase of a new front-end loader from Strongco Limited Partnership at a cost of $247,090. Staff followed an RFP process in determining the recommended purchase as per the town's purchasing policy. Committee also approved using $25,000 to help cover the cost of updating the town's phone system. Funds will come from the grant leveraging account. Committee also approved the preparation and submission of a provincial grant application to help cover the balance of the project. Grant money, if approved, is available to cover 75% of eligible costs. Staff are finalizing total project expenses for the project. The upgrading will ensure a system that can continue to support daily operations, including those at the new Twin Pad Arena and Library. Committee is recommending Council approve using Baker Tilly LLP for audit services at a cost of $30,000 annually. The committee is also recommending Baker Tilly serve as the town's auditor for a 5-year period, subject to satisfactory performance. The town used an RFP process as per the town's purchasing policy to identify Baker Tilly as a preferred auditing firm. Committee is also recommending that Council approve the license renewal with the existing tenant for the municipal parking lot at 21 Main Street as per the terms outlined in the related staff report. For the past few seasons, the owner of the property across the street has operated the lot. Through the arrangement, the town saves staff time and the cost of placing and maintaining a parking machine for the lot. As well, the committee recommends Council receive for information the Municipal Law Enforcement Activities Report for February. The report notes that during the month, the department received 110 calls for service. Officers investigated a variety of occurrences. Finally, committee is recommending Council receive the 2020 year-end financial report for information and that the estimated carryover transfers, year-end deficits and surpluses as noted in the report be approved. The report notes the 2020 fiscal year was a typical year financially despite having to address COVID-19. The COVID-19 provincial grant that the town received supported the town more than adequately. Reserves continue to be well established as are investments, and the treasurer states the town's financial position remains strong. Finally, committee then moved into closed session to deal with a number of matters. After returning to open session, committee passed resolutions confirming direction given in closed session, and in some cases received items for information on behalf of the General Government Services section of Coordinated Committee. I ask that Council approve the recommendations in this report. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions of Deputy Mayor Bray? Okay, if I can have a mover and seconder for this motion, please. Councillor Kinney and Councillor Belanger, that Council receive the Coordinated Committee reports of March 11th, 2021 as circulated and approves all actions contained therein. All those in favor? And that is carried unanimously. Thank you. Next is Committee of the Whole minutes for March 25th. The following are the highlights from the March 25th Committee of the Whole meeting. Committee is recommending that Council approve the use of EDS Group Inc. at a cost of $42,682 to provide architectural design services for the redevelopment of Glendale Park. Staff used a competitive RFP process to identify EDS as the recommended provider for the design works. The park is located between Glen Eaton Road and Riverdale Drive. Committee is also recommending the town retain Landco Group Inc. at a cost of $192,064 for the Orchard Park Drive pedestrian bridge replacement project. In addition, the committee is recommending the town award contract administration services for the project to PlanMac Engineering Inc. at a cost of $20,657. The town used a tender process to identify the two firms. Committee received for information the April to September event summary report. The summary outlines canceled events due to the pandemic and those that are going ahead. In some cases, events will be held virtually. The number of in-person events is limited due to the size restrictions under public health regulations. If these should change, staff will be back to Council with recommendations. Committee is recommending council approve an unbudgeted expense of $86,670 from the Administration General Reserve. The funds would allow the town to hire a junior planner on a one-year contract. Wasaga is experiencing significant interest from the development community in bringing projects to fruition. The junior planner will support the needs of the town's planning department during this busy period and assist with the municipality's record management program, which is in the midst of a records inventory project slated for completion at year's end. Committee also received a report and public consultation summary regarding the potential of allowing chickens to be kept in backyards. Last fall, after the town received inquiries about the potential of having chickens in backyards, council directed staff to review the matter. The town launched a survey on its community engagement website at www.letstalkwasagabeach.ca in November. The survey ran until early February. 691 individuals completed the survey, and a majority of residents were not interested in keeping chickens on their property. Based on the findings of the consultation, committee is recommending to council that the existing controls prohibiting chickens in backyards remain in place. Committee is recommending that the proposed amendments to Bylaw 2005-17 to regulate the parking of vehicles be brought to council for consideration today. The amendments will be considered later in the meeting. The amendments include a slight fee increase for 5 parking infraction fines and an addition of 2 new parking violations due to the high volume of repeated parking offenses from the previous summer season. As well, committee recommends that the development charge deferral agreement with Sterling Homes undergo a final review and that the related bylaw be prepared. In other matters, the committee recommends that council receive for information the 2020 annual statement of remuneration and expenses paid to members of council and boards and committees. Committee is recommending that council select Colliers International to provide bid document review services for the drawings and specifications for the proposed Twin Pad Arena and Library project. The cost of the service is a fixed fee of $52,800, excluding disbursements and taxes. Bid document review work aims to identify areas of possible contention in project tender documents before the town issues them. Bid document review work is set to start May 1st. Also in connection with the Arena and Library project, committee received the design update report for information and directed staff to work with the steering group, Colliers and MJMA design consultants, to determine the best materials and finishes for use in the construction of the new building. As well, committee directed staff to bring a follow-up report to council that highlights the materials that have been selected for the facility. Finally, committee received for information the Twin Pad Arena and Library fundraising and sponsorship update report and is recommending that council approve the sponsorship and naming policy plus the donor recognition policy. On behalf of committee of the whole, I ask that council approve the recommendations in this report. Are there any questions or comments on this report? If I could have a mover and seconder, please. Deputy Mayor Bray. Oh, sorry, you wanted to speak.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I actually don't think I muted my my speaker. Sorry about that. I just wanted to comment on the refurbishment of the park at Glen Eaton. I think that the process Public Works has recommended with public consultation is exciting because those who live nearby and use the park are going to be able to get their input into what they would like to see in the park. So I think it's a really great approach as we refurbish parks over the next few years, because certainly our inventory is getting a little tired. And kudos to Public Works for involving the community. Thanks.
Thank you. Are you willing to move this motion?
I am.
Okay, so moved by Deputy Mayor Bray, seconded by Councillor Foster. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor? And that is carried unanimously. Accounts, Deputy Mayor Bray, did you wish to speak to this?
Finally remembered to mute myself. Yes, just a note to the public watching that all the accounts on this summary were reviewed by the individual standing committees at our coordinated committee meeting and were found to be supported by council so that they have all been checked. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. If I can have a mover and seconder, please. Councillor Kinney and Councillor Wells, that council approve the February 1st to 28, 2021 accounts in the amount of $3,062,935.77. All those in favor? And that is carried unanimously. Next, proclamations and flag raisings. If I can have a mover and seconder for this, please. Councillor Kinney and Councillor Foster. The council receive the information report pertaining to proclamations and flag raising for the month of March 2021 for information. All those in favor? And that is carried unanimously. Item 10.5, Senior Special Events Coordinator's Report. If I could have a mover and seconder for this, please. Councillor Kinney and Deputy Mayor Bray. The council received the Wasaga Licious Event Report for information and approval, and further that council approve allocating up to $10,000 split between the new event sponsorship and economic development advertisements budgets for costs associated with marketing, promotion, and prizes for the event. Is there any discussion on this item? All those in favor? And that is carried unanimously. Item 10.6, fundraising and sponsorship report regarding the Twin Paddle Arena and Library. If I can have a mover and seconder, please. Councillor Kinney and Deputy Mayor Bray. The council received the Twin Pad Arena and Library fundraising campaign strategy and asset report for information, and further the council approved the methodology for establishing naming opportunities and valuation figures for the new Twin Pad Arena and Library, and direct staff to utilize the naming opportunities chart, gift chart, prospect worksheet, and moves management outline as a framework for carrying out the Twin Pad Arena and Library capital and community fundraising campaign. Is there any discussion on this item? All those in favor? And that is carried unanimously. Item 10.7, request for an unbudgeted amount. If I could have a mover and seconder for this. Councillor Foster and Councillor Kinney. The council approve an unbudgeted expenditure of approximately $10,000, including $7,800 plus benefits, approximately 15%, for the part-time contract for an age-friendly business program assistant position to be funded from the 2020 Simcoe County Age-Friendly Municipal Grant as per the details outlined in the staff report. Is there any discussion on this item? And all those in favor? And that is carried unanimously. 10.8 is the CAO's report with regard to leasing 93 Beach Drive. If I could have a mover and seconder, please. Deputy Mayor Bray, Councillor Belanger. The general government section recommend to council that it approve a new lease renewal for 93 Beach Drive Unit A, Copa Wasaga, based on the town standard lease. Is there any discussion on this item? All those in favor? And that is carried unanimously. And that takes us to our CAO's verbal update for COVID-19. Mr. CAO.
Thank you, Worship. I'm joined today by our Deputy Fire Chief, Craig Williams, and our Communications Coordinator, Michael Jennings. They'll give an update with respect to COVID-19 announcements from the province, and then things of note from the Simcoe Muskoka District Health Unit. And with your permission, Your Worship, I think we'll start with Mike Jennings, our Communication Coordinator, with the provincial update.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mike.
Thank you, George. Thank you, Your Worship. I'm going to start, there were quite a few announcements in March, but I'm going to just limit my report to March 24th, when the province unveiled its 2021 budget, which it dubbed Ontario's Action Plan Protecting People's Health and Our Economy. The budget builds on the government's investments since the start of the pandemic and brings total investments to $16.3 billion to protect Ontarians' health and $23.3 billion to protect the economy. People can find full details about the budget on the province's website at ontario.ca. As part of the budget, there was additional support for eligible small businesses to help them navigate the pandemic. Confirmed recipients of the Small Business Support Grant will receive automatically a second payment equal to the amount of their first payment, for a total minimum total support of $20,000 to a maximum of $40,000. This information has been shared with our economic development staff, and they've passed the word along to the local business community. March 25th, the province noted that the Temiskaming Health Unit was moving to red control. A day later, they also moved Hamilton to gray lockdown and Eastern Ontario to red control. March 28th, the province extended the COVID vaccination appointments to individuals aged 70 and over through its online booking system and call center in 11 additional public health units. This includes Simcoe Muskoka. The government announced yesterday in Niagara Falls that it is providing an estimated $100 million for a new one-time Ontario tourism and hospitality small business support grant and $100 million for a new one-time recovery program. And those are sort of the latest announcements in the last week or so, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Is there any questions for Mike? Okay, I see our Deputy Chief has joined us. Morning, Craig. Go ahead.
Good morning, Your Worship, members of Council. So although we have yet to feel any significant impact locally of a third wave of the pandemic, provincially, there is evidence that hotspots are experiencing increased cases as well as demand on the public health system. So my message today to our community is that although we all feel fatigued at this point, we must stay the course and continue to follow all public health recommendations for the foreseeable future. So globally, there have now been 127 million cases of COVID-19, including 72 million recoveries and 2.79 million deaths. And nationally, we've experienced 968,000 cases with 901,000 recoveries and 22,894 deaths. Provincially, we've had 345,000 cases with 319,000 recoveries and 7,337 deaths. The current number of Ontario residents that are hospitalized due to COVID-19 is 841, and there are 382 individuals who are admitted to ICUs across the province, including 236 that are currently on ventilators. The provincial testing positivity rate has increased. It now sits at 6.1%. And to date, Ontario has conducted just over 12.4 million COVID-19 tests. More locally within the Simcoe Muskoka region, there have been 7,629 reported cases, including 197 deaths as of yesterday. There are 25 individuals that are hospitalized within our area. The 7-day moving average of COVID-19 in Simcoe Muskoka is 73 cases per day, and our percent positivity for testing is now 4%. There are currently 12 active outbreaks in our region, and this includes 4 institutions, 1 congregate living setting, 4 education settings, and 3 workplaces. To date, over 86,000 COVID-19 vaccines have been administered throughout Simcoe and Muskoka. The vast majority of doses administered thus far have been the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine. However, 4,350 doses of AstraZeneca have also been delivered, as well as 1,500 doses of Moderna. Within Simcoe Muskoka, 95% of the long-term care residents and 96% of retirement home residents have received at minimum their first dose. Additionally, 71% of all adults 80 years and older and 27% of adults between 75 and 79 in the community have received their first dose, and roughly 21,000 staff and other hospital staff and other healthcare workers, including retirement and long-term care staff, have also received at least their first dose of vaccine. And finally, within Wasaga Beach, as of yesterday, we had 154 cases reported by the health unit. That number includes 2 that are currently in hospital, 10 that are isolating in the community, 139 recoveries, and 3 deaths. Our most recent case was listed on March the 28th, and at this point, we do not have any declared active outbreaks. And that concludes my update.
Okay, thank you, Craig. Is there any questions for Craig? All right, thank you. Moving back to you, Mr. CAO.
Thank you, Your Worship, members of council. Thanks, Craig and Mike, for your updates. I'm going to provide an update on the command team activities. The last time I was before you was a couple weeks back on March 11th. The command team has started to review plans for the beach area, including the parking and the use of the sand-covered portion of Beach Drive. We're advised by the provincial park that it will be returning to regular operations this year, similar to pre-COVID-19. All provincial park facilities will be open as per the regular schedule, and there will be no parking restrictions as there were last summer. And as members of council were made aware late last week, the province has implemented a free parking program Monday to Thursday in our provincial park and provincial parks across Ontario to encourage people to get outdoors and visit parks. The fees will still be in place for weekends. Currently, the park has one staff member looking after maintenance, ensuring any hazards that accumulated over the winter are addressed, as well as dealing with any accumulated garbage issues. You may have noticed water levels have dropped from last year, which means that there is more provincial park beach available. In light of these factors, the command team is not implementing the pod system this season on the sand-covered portion of Beach Drive to control the number of people on the sand. The command team is still reviewing whether to implement the resident-only pod, and if so, where should it be located? In addition, no parking lot restrictions are being proposed at this time. Spring maintenance has started at the beachfront with putting back the sand on Beach Drive that had accumulated on the sidewalk and in front of the businesses. We have been working to ensure various departments are prepared if Simcoe Muskoka moves to orange, yellow, or green under the provincial health framework. We want to be ready to respond quickly with programs and activities if and when restrictions loosen. Municipal law enforcement, along with public works, are updating no parking signage at various locations to better guide visitors. The department is also looking to renovate its space at Town Hall to accommodate the influx of summer staff and to ensure compliance with COVID-19 requirements. The YMCA opened 2 weeks ago, and so far the response from the community has been positive. Self-screening has been put in place, and a rigorous cleaning protocol has also been put in place. They are limiting the numbers that they can accommodate, but are working through those limitations. Finally, the Simcoe Muskoka District Health Unit has been updating their workplace guideline documents and posting them on their website. Town staff are carefully reviewing those that impact municipalities, such as outdoor recreation activities, farmers market, indoor and outdoor event gatherings to ensure compliance. Your Worship, that concludes my comments, and I'd be happy to take any questions members of council may have.
Okay, thank you, George. Any questions for George? Councillor Boulanger.
Thank you, Your Honor. This may be for Craig or our CAO. I'm getting quite a number of calls from residents related to vaccinations. When we did the tour of the vaccination facility, they had indicated that if supply of vaccinations were to increase, that they would be increasing the number of days that they perform vaccinations, and that might be even every day. Right now, it appears, or at least what I'm being told by residents, is that it's very difficult for them to find a scheduled booking within Collingwood and Wasaga Beach. I believe they're booked quite a ways out. I have been telling them, residents have been telling me they've found open scheduled spots in Penetang or Barrie or even in North York or different areas where they've been traveling to get a vaccine. But I didn't know if there had been any further update on whether our allocation of actual vaccine is going to increase in the very near future. Thank you.
Okay, Craig, I'm going to go to you for that answer. And maybe you can just touch on, I've actually had only positive emails from people that it's been a really good, easy process for them, with the exception of one gentleman who was quite angry that I, as mayor, was not ensuring that people in Wasaga Beach were being vaccinated. So while you're answering Councillor Boulanger's question, maybe you could also just explain who's actually in charge of vaccines and determines how many we get.
For sure. I think the root of the problem is a supply and demand issue right now. Is we have enough people within our community that fit the eligible requirements for the various groups, and there's not enough appointment time slots to accommodate everybody at once. The good news is, vaccines are getting in arms. We're moving through those eligible groups at a faster pace than what was expected, but the allocation of vaccines from the province has not increased in the last couple weeks, actually. So I just got off a conference call this morning, and this was a part of the discussion. And certainly our local health teams feel that if there is increased vaccine, we're able to increase appointments and run more days of the week, but they just simply haven't had allocated additional vaccine at this point. To the mayor's point, you know, the fact of the matter is that the municipality itself is not responsible for the delivery of healthcare services. That's provincial jurisdiction. It's funded by the province, and the town's role is a supportive role in ensuring that our local vaccine site is up and running, and to the extent possible, we can make it as efficient as a process as possible. However, you know, our residents need to be reminded that all healthcare services, they are provincial resources or regional resources, if you want to think of it that way. And although we do have a local clinic set up, there's no guarantee that our residents get first crack at those appointments. They're put out, you know, for the taking, and residents from outside of Wasaga Beach could certainly sign up for those as well. And although I know that's frustrating for many of our residents, there's many communities in Simcoe County that do not have a local clinic, and they all must travel. So at this point, you know, I know the encouragement from the doctors are get a vaccine when you can, where you can get it. It would be nice if everybody was able to drive to the Recplex, but the reality is that some are going to have to travel a small amount. As the mayor alluded to there, the majority of feedback that I've received has overwhelmingly been positive. But certainly there's been frustration, and a great deal of that is to do with the provincial booking system, and that for some individuals, it hasn't been a very easy process to book online. So we are helping residents out where we can. If they do contact us, we try and push them in the right direction, and generally we're able to get a successful resolution for them.
Okay, thank you, Craig. And we are fortunate to have a site right here in Wasaga Beach, and kudos to staff here at the town as well as the health unit for getting everything up and running there. And it is a pretty smooth process once you're booked in there. So thank you for that. Councillor Wells, I saw your card out.
Thanks, Your Worship. I really wasn't going to comment, but just to follow up to Joe and Craig, I received over the last couple of days probably a half a dozen calls. Not criticizing the town so much, because in fact I think they realize that it's not something that we necessarily have control over, but extreme frustration over the booking system, both the online one, but more particularly the phone one. People were telling me about having been calling in to the vaccine line, sitting on hold. You know, thank you very much for your patience. We appreciate your call. We want to help you. And after about 10 minutes or so sitting on hold, it comes on and says, sorry, we can't answer your call right now, click, and it hangs up. That was the biggest frustration that I was hearing. And, you know, I couldn't do anything more than just tell them to keep on trying, that it was not something that we had control over. So that seems to be the big issue. I was also given to believe, I stand to be corrected, that when they moved it down to 70 years of age and up, it takes a few days before they upload the vaccination sites in Wasaga and Collingwood to include those people. So a lot of people, I understand, would be trying to book online and trying to book Wasaga or Collingwood and couldn't. But in fact, it was because the health unit or the province hadn't uploaded those sites yet to that particular age group. So hopefully later this week, today or tomorrow or later in the week, people will be able to book in Wasaga and Collingwood because they will have uploaded those possible sites. Again, we're sort of flying on one wing here in the town because we just don't have control over it. But as an implementation, I have to say, it's not been the best program implementation that any organization has ever undertaken.
Thank you for that. Councillor Watson.
Thank you, Your Worship. I would just concur with your comments. The people I've heard from are relatively happy with how things are going, and they don't seem to have any issue traveling a little bit. It makes for a nice outing for the day. The weather is good, and they're just happy to be able to get the vaccination. So the experience that I've been hearing have been okay. And I also believe MPP Jim Wilson's office has been quite busy helping people out too with getting appointments. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor Foster.
Thank you, Your Worship, and I won't repeat what my peers have said, but I do find, because I fall in that age range for the AstraZeneca, originally on our South Georgia Bay, Ontario Health Team unit, they had a countdown timer to when they were receiving that, and it was supposed to be last week, and then it got changed to this week, and now it's just saying they'll confirm it when delivery is, or vaccine delivery is received. So the other piece is I went on to apply, and as George might have just said, is it said for the AstraZeneca, I can literally go to Toronto and when they have it available, and they don't at this moment, but I will drive the 96 kilometers or the 123 or 132 to get it. I'll consider it a date, take Jill and consider it a date. But I mean, this, if you think of the logistics of vaccinating most of a province, and a province that's got a lot of rural, a lot of rural area, it is a challenge. So as much as it can be frustrating, I suggest that we be patient and we revel in the numbers that 86% of people in long-term care and retirement communities are vaccinated now, and that 25% or whatever it was of over 70 are vaccinated. Those numbers will reflect in our success in a town. As we get more people vaccinated, our town will be able to open more and more. But until that time, continue to follow all the rules. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Okay, Mr. CAO, did you have anything to add before I go to the motion?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just one comment, and the Deputy Chief, I think, touched on this, is that it is a supply issue with respect to the vaccines. And I remember on the tour, the staff there indicating that as soon as they have more vaccine allocated to the Simcoe Muskoka District Health Unit, that they would be offering more clinic time. So that's encouraging. I know that there was 1 million doses just dropped into Hamilton Airport on the weekend, and those will be distributed around Canada and in Ontario. So as we get more vaccines, I think, Your Worship, there will be more clinic time slots available. Thank you.
Thank you. If I can have a mover and seconder to receive this information, Councillor Kinney and Councillor Wells, that Council received the March 30th, 2021 verbal COVID-19 update from the CAO for information. All those in favor? And that is carried unanimously. Community announcements will go to Deputy Mayor Bray, please.
Thank you very much. It feels like it was a quiet month, but I'm just not sure if the Zoom meetings are no longer quite the event they used to be, because they just happen all the time now. So lots of activity going on with the Arena and Library Construction Steering Group, and meetings to do with fundraising. So you started to see reports coming forward, which is really exciting. The highlight was probably the COVID clinic tour. I think it was really great to actually get outside on a nice sunny day and see the clinic in action and talk to those frontline heroes who are vaccinating some days, testing other days, but trying the best to help us see some light at the end of this COVID tunnel. So that was good to understand it a little bit more, because then if we do get calls, we can certainly answer them. Other things that have been keeping me busy have been the Wasaga Beach Women's Business Association meeting, again, a Zoom one. Our Rotary Club meets by Zoom. The County Council has continued meeting by Zoom. And yesterday took part in a really exciting meeting for the Lake Simcoe Regional Airport Board, of which I am a member through County Council. So lots of good things are happening within our region, and just wanted to say two things. Happy Easter to everybody. I know it'll be our second Easter with COVID restrictions, but spring is coming and we can still get outside and have some fun. And today is my mother's birthday, and I would normally be there with her to celebrate in person. But as I can't, I'm just telling the whole world it's my mom's birthday today. So happy birthday. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Wells.
Thank you, Your Worship. Also a relatively quiet month. I too sat in the Zoom meeting with the Women's Business Association for their business awards, and kudos to the Chamber of Commerce. It was an excellent evening, very, very well done, and a lot of fun took place, even though it was through the Zoom meeting. Other than that, it's been the opportunity to respond to some inquiries from individuals within the town as to concerns they have or issues they have, and trying to direct them to where they can get the assistance or the help that they need. As I was listening to Deputy Mayor Bray, I was thinking to myself, if all of us think back 12 to 15 months, how many of us actually knew what Zoom was 15 or 16 months ago? I think it's something that was, you'd heard about it, but probably didn't know anything about it and probably hadn't used it. But wow, what a change in a year. So there you go. Have a good day and have a good Easter.
Thank you. Councillor Foster.
Oh, thank you, Your Worship. Between George and Mike Jennings, they covered off most of my thunder about the Ontario parks and the water levels. I was really excited about that. I was going to talk about vaccine clinics, and that's been covered. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I have been grandparenting for the last week and a half, and I'm at a whole new level of exhausted. So I will point out this though, and this is for Mr. Jennings. I've got my phone here. I Googled Wasaga Beach this morning so I could follow the live stream, which everyone should do. And I noticed, these people, where is it? The people also asked section. And if you look down there, what's the longest freshwater beach in the world? And it says Wasaga Beach, located in Collingwood, Ontario. Mr. Jennings, can you get in touch with CBC Kids and get them to straighten out the record? We are not located in Collingwood, nor do we want to be. We are in Wasaga Beach, and it is the longest beach in the world, and we should be proud of it, and it should be correct on the internet. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm sure Mr. Jennings will get on that this afternoon. I see him nodding. Thank you. Councillor Kinney.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, the month has been relatively quiet. However, I did get out to the Provis flag raising for the month, and that was great to see people out there. With regards to Zoom meetings, the AAC committee, the Accessibility Advisory Committee for the town met via Zoom the first time in a year. It was great to see even just people's faces, and it was nice to see that we actually as a committee got an update from the project manager on the arena and the library project. So that really helped the members around the community get a hold of, we still have work to do, but it's moving forward. And that's about it, Your Worship. And I just hope everybody listened to our COVID report today and keep in mind that, yeah, we got a long way to go, which means we still have to, as Councillor Foster says, do what we're supposed to be doing, putting on a mask, washing your hands, social distancing, all that. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. Councillor Belanger.
Thank you, Mayor Byfolchi. Yes, I attended the Provost Month flag raising, and we have a very strong 5 groups in town, and they're being very creative and continuing to engage their membership. I think they had some Zoom calls with over 100 people on, so that was very good. Attended the COVID clinic tour, and that was the first day they were increasing from 200 to 420 vaccinations a day, and it was going very smoothly. Once again, attended the Women's Business Awards, and we have many successful business women in town. And once again, to congratulate all the winners of the different categories. And then finally, I am continuing my daily hiking. And I just want to let our residents to know that normally this time of year, when you think with how quickly all this snow has melted off, that the trails would be impassable. Many of our trails are on sand dunes, and they're actually in pretty darn good condition. So it's actually a little easier to do the hiking now than it was when the snow was on the ground. So, and again, as did Councillor Wells indicate, there has been many residents reaching out and been able to assist them in a number of concerns and directing them to the right staff members. So that's it for the month. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Watson.
Thank you, Your Worship. I also attended the flag raising for the Provost Clubs of Wasaga Beach. I attended 2 Zoom Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Association meetings. I continue to work with a number of residents on permitting issues and problems with the authority. I also get calls from our neighboring municipalities sometimes dealing with these issues. Attended the Chamber of Commerce Women in Business Awards evening. As it's been mentioned, I think there was over 70 people attending on the Zoom call for that. I had the privilege of presenting the Wasaga Builders and Contractors Association Award to the Tradesperson of the Year. We had our first in a few months business recovery task force meeting. We got a nice early start on it this year and starting to work with the open patio program and different initiatives to help our business community as we enter a new summer season. I also attended the tour of the COVID vaccination clinic at the Recplex, and the frontline heroes and staff that are running that facility are very happy with the venue and very happy with the support of the town of Wasaga Beach to make that a very well-oiled machine up there. And also just to wish everyone a very happy Easter weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. As far as my report, I've been busy with meetings, arena and library meetings, affordable housing at the county, economic development task force. I too was at the Women's Business Association Awards, county council, the Provost flag raising, chamber board meeting, the COVID clinic tour. There's just still lots of meetings, just less travel time in between. You just hop on another Zoom. So business keeps going. I did have the opportunity to pop by and have a socially distanced visit with several people now for special anniversaries and birthdays. And so it's always nice to see them. We do stay outside. We do keep our distance, but they're usually happy for a quick visit. So that is my report. Moving on, notices of motion. I don't believe we have any that I'm aware of. Motions where notice has been previously given, we have none. Calling of committee meetings, Mr. CAO.
Thank you, Your Worship, members of council. So I'm looking at the April calendar of meetings, and our first meeting in April is a special council meeting on Tuesday, April 6th. There's been a time change. I think it's been noted through the clerk's office. It's now a 12:30 start. It looks like that meeting will be moving to a virtual format. I'll be in conversation with the clerk to have that discussion and confirm that. So there'll be a notice coming out with respect to that meeting on Tuesday, April 6th. On Thursday, April 8th is our coordinated committee meeting. It starts at 9 a.m. and it's a virtual meeting. On April 22nd is our committee of the whole meeting for the month, and it starts at 9 a.m. as a virtual meeting. And the council meeting for April is Tuesday, April 27th at 9 a.m. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. Moving on to bylaws, if I could have a mover and seconder, please. Councillor Kinney and Councillor Foster. Resolved that the following bylaws be received and be deemed to have been ready first, second, and third time, passed and numbered as follows. 2021-23, a bylaw to authorize the entering into of an agreement between the Town of Wasaga Beach and Her Majesty the Queen and Right of the Province of Ontario, as represented by the Minister of Transportation for the Province of Ontario, for the Safe Restart Agreement Phase 2 Municipal Transit Funding. 2021-24, a bylaw to deem part of Registered Plan 1369, Town of Wasaga Beach, not to be a registered plan of subdivision, 10-foot wide footpath identified on Plan 1369 between lots 75 and 76. 2021-25, a bylaw to adopt a sponsorship and naming policy. 2021-26, a bylaw to adopt a donor recognition policy. 2021-27, a bylaw to authorize the entering into of an agreement between the Town of Wasaga Beach and CompuSolve Technologies, Inc. for management computer support services. 2021-28, a bylaw to amend bylaw 2021-13, being a bylaw to delegate routine or minor powers and duties of the Town of Wasaga Beach Council to officers of the Corporation of the Town of Wasaga Beach. 2021-29, a bylaw to authorize the execution of a license agreement for 21 Main Street. 2021-30, a bylaw to authorize the execution of a lease agreement, 93 Beach Drive Unit A. 2021-31, a bylaw to authorize the entering into of an agreement between the Town of Wasaga Beach and Her Majesty the Queen and Right of the Province of Ontario, as represented by the Office of the Fire Marshal for the Fire Safety Grant Program. And 2021-32, a bylaw to amend bylaw number 2005-17, being a bylaw to establish rates and regulations for the parking of vehicles within the Town of Wasaga Beach. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? And that is carried unanimously. And the confirmatory bylaw, if I could have a mover and seconder, please. Councillor Kinney and Deputy Mayor Bray. Resolved that a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Wasaga Beach at its regular meeting held Tuesday, March 30th, 2021 be received and be deemed to be ready first, second, and third time, passed and numbered 2021-33. All those in favor? And that is carried unanimously. And with that, we are adjourned. Have a great day, everyone.